Welcome everyone to the Broke to BMW Webinar Series, month 12. This is the last webinar within the series that we've been running for the last year. So welcome to the webinar and congratulations for still being on the bus and part of this journey. Some of you that were on the journey at the start remember how excited everyone was and how many dreams and goals that everybody had to achieve over these 12-month period. And here we are at the end of the ride, and so many of you are still on the bus, which is fantastic to see. And some people have, hopped on and off the bus along the way, and some people have hopped off the bus and not got back on, which is absolutely fine and normal. And it's about, everybody's on their own journey. And I just want to congratulate you. So if you're sitting in your office or in your home by yourself, just hopefully no one's staring in through the window, but just reach over with your hand and pat yourself on the back, because it takes a lot of courage and strength and commitment to stick to something for 12 months, because a lot of things can happen in a 12-month period. And the fact that you're still here month in, month out, a lot of you that are on tonight have been on this webinar series since the start and pretty much haven't missed one, or if you have, you've caught up with it straight away. So congratulations. Okay, so what I want to do tonight is, we've covered a lot of things over the course of this webinar series, and you would have noticed that a lot of the things that we covered have been around mindset. And of course, we have covered business strategies as well, and we've covered physical activities that you need to do, goal setting, vision boards. You've learned business strategies around managing your money. We've touched on the people that you need to have surrounding you, your team and support team. We've talked a lot about how to negotiate with suppliers. We've talked about how to forge, potential partnerships and strategic alliances. So we've covered a lot of business things and mindset things. And I just want you to stop and reflect, and we're going to cover this a bit tonight, but just that it is all about doing all of those things, not just one and not the other. It's about doing them all. So I want to cover a few things with you tonight. So here's what we're going to be going through. We're going to be covering month 12, which for those of you that have the book, it was all about reward time for me, and it should also be the same for you. And I'll take you through that in a moment. And also to look at how far you've come. And you've probably noticed there's been a theme with this particular point that I've been talking to you about over the last couple of months, because I work with a lot of clients, and I see a lot of business owners during the week with the activities that I do through mentoring and also through Y Network. And I meet a lot of business owners, and quite often one of the first things out of their mouth is telling me the things that they haven't got around to doing, the things that they haven't achieved. And very rarely will I have someone come up to me and say, Shah, I'm so proud of myself. I've been able to get these things done that were on my to-do list, and I'm really proud of myself. And then even though I didn't tick everything off, I'm still glad I get this. That's just a comment that I'm sure you would all agree. You just don't hear people doing that. And by doing it that way, what we're doing is we're also rewarding ourselves for the journey that we've taken so far. And we're also allowing ourselves to stop and take a breath and reminding ourselves how we've got to this point. So it would be quite refreshing if you maybe started to think that way, but also when you hear somebody going into that path of telling you all the things that are still on their to-do list, maybe just take a moment to remind them and ask them, well, how far have you come? What have you achieved in this last week or month or even today? Of course, I'm going to still be talking about your why, because it's the reason that the ones that are still on the bus are here, because you've got something bigger that you're working towards. And it is absolutely important, as you know. The highs and lows of the journey, we all have days like this. And I leave that in there every month for a good reason, because we do need to celebrate the highs and the lows. And sometimes from the lows, or quite often, not sometimes, quite often, we do have a lot of lessons that we learn from our lows, and they can actually turn into highs. So we'll touch on that as well. Checking in on the mindset for the last time, just to see, how everyone is. So maybe as I'm rattling on here, if you're on the webinar live, certainly, type a little note about how your mindset is 12 months into this program. How are you feeling? You're more confident, you're more positive. Let's make tonight quite interactive. So definitely type your mindset, how you're feeling. If there's been a shift, if you found you've gone backwards and then forwards, let me know and I'll try and read them as I go along. And there is a little bit of home play for the last time that I've been very kind to you, as it is the last webinar. I've been very kind to you with home play, so don't panic. A quick disclaimer for those that may be new on the webinar tonight, and also certainly people who are listening to the recording. Everything that I share on the webinar is based on my personal experience of going broke to BMW. And of course, your journey is your own. Each situation is very, very different. And it does also depend on how much of the strategies you apply and how relevant they are to your business. So I obviously can't guarantee anybody's results. It is what you do with it, and each situation is very different. So let's take a moment to reflect. And this is not something that we as entrepreneurs do very often at all. We are like a little bit of a mouse in one of those treadmills and the circle wheels, and we do kind of run around all the time, and we get to the next step and we don't stop to look back. We actually continue to tread forward and spin that wheel and spin our life, pretty much keeping things going and on the move. So I just want you to picture for a moment, and there's a really long beach. It's flat and there's no curves or corners. It's just a long strip of beautiful beach. I want you to take a moment and picture that in your mind's eye, and picture yourself that you've been walking along this beach for a very long time. And what I want you to do now is just picture yourself turning around. And when you started walking on this beach, there's a huge red flag sticking out of the sand. And it's flapping in the wind, so it's very easy for you to see. And when you stop and turn around, you can see this flag flapping in the wind. And it's really hard for you to focus on because it's so far away. And all you were doing at the time was just putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving yourself forward. And the journey that you're on with your business is exactly the same. However, what you're not doing, or maybe not doing, is you're not stopping to look for that red flag in the sand. You're not stopping to turn around and see how far you've actually come. You just keep walking and one foot in front of the other. And yes, we do need to keep propelling ourselves forward, but it's also very, very important to stop and look at how far we have come. There's a feeling of elation that I went through during this part of my journey. And it's that feeling of knowing that I've actually made it. I was starting to get those feelings, as I mentioned in the previous webinars, as I was starting to see things get paid off, and the folder of accounts getting thinner and thinner, and the amounts on the sheets getting less and less. I started to get that feeling. But it was this month in particular on my journey that I really started to feel that feeling of elation, and it was incredible. And I want you guys to also stop and have that feeling and let it immerse you and kind of take over a little bit, because it's critical to us moving forward, is to actually stop and like the next point says, praising yourself for a job well done. Where a lot of us are in a small business, we just don't have people in our office or our bosses or our colleagues or peers saying, oh, well done, good on you for doing that. We just don't have that. So if we don't do it for ourselves, you may find that no one around you is going to do it, certainly not in your office environment. But I'm going to talk about some other places that you can find these people in a moment. Maria's just shared that she went backwards at the end of last year, and I think everybody can read her comment, but with her mum, and everything started to get on top of her. And this year she's moving forward and looking forward to what the rest of the year can bring. And, you know, with family and friends, sometimes there are going to be some things that do go wrong, and they're completely out of our control. However, of course, they impact us. And there's certain things that we can fix and change and have control over, and there's quite a few things that we can't, but they do still certainly affect us. And sometimes you might find that you take 2 steps back, and Maria, you'll probably find this, that you'll take 2 steps back with things that went on for you personally and with business, but then you'll be able to spring forward so much faster because it's potentially the right direction for you now. The other idea and project was the right direction at that time, and there'll be a reason that will unfold in the future as to why that had to happen. But now it's a matter of moving forward with those lessons. And again, I talked about this on one of the earlier webinars, was that when you try and jump off the ground, if you're already standing tall, you can't jump very high. But if you crouch down to the ground, it's like when we fall over and you crouch right down, you can springboard so much higher and reach heights that you didn't think were possible just because you were lower to the ground. So what may seem as a slight setback can actually be the best thing for you. And yeah, you're right, Maria, it does make us human, absolutely. So praising yourself for a job well done is so important. And I guess, you know, we just don't do that. But having that moment of realization, how often do you actually stop? And I mean stop. Don't look at social media, don't check your phone, don't be, you know, doing multitasking 3 things at once, looking for an invoice to pay and checking a client's comment. No, I mean actually stop. Just sit in your own thoughts, in your office or in your own positive space environment, and actually process in your head what just happened for you that was good. So I don't do this very often, but when I do it, I believe now I do it quite well. And I've learnt how powerful it is and how great it makes me feel. And I know what makes me feel really great, like what gets rewarded gets repeated. So I know that if I continue to feel good about these feelings and stopping and realizing what I've achieved, the universe will give me more of the same, because if I like it, the universe wants to make me happy, so it's going to deliver more of the same. And recently, some of you may have seen that I was selected to be featured on Oprah.com as one of the owners, and I got a little feature done, and my photo and some, you know, questions that they'd sent through to me. And it's, you know, it's one of those times where I'd known about it for a while, but when I actually saw it on the website on Oprah.com, it was just that moment of, oh my God, it's real. You know, it actually went through and there I am. And I had to stop and just allow myself to feel the feeling of elation, praise myself for a job well done that I was able to get onto that site and be in the top 100 globally, but also just allow that moment of realization of what I had achieved and potentially what could come up for me as an opportunity to help more people, you know, with the work that I do of finding their why, allowing me to just have that moment of realization of what was possible. So I cracked open a bottle of champagne with my husband, and we had a few drinks and celebrated and sort of chatted through that process. So it is so important to be present in the moment, because we're all so busy. If I had allowed that email and notifying me that my feature was live and did nothing about it, it would have just been another email that came through. I would have shared the link and put it onto my website, and that would have been it. But if I didn't stop and be present in that moment, which is pretty huge, like, let's face it, I just want to brag for a sec. How many people would actually try and apply to be on that website globally? We're talking Oprah here. And how many people actually get selected? And I have no idea if it was a completely random selection, you know, name in a hat kind of thing, or did they actually look through and select me? I don't really know. I'd like to think that I was hand chosen, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But I'm just wondering, you know, if I didn't stop and be present and make it that feel so real, then what was the point? you know, it is a pretty big deal. I'm top 100 owners in the world, the featured owners as they call them. And who knows, like Oprah is one of those people that she potentially could send an email out one day and say, okay, now that it's, you know, there's 100 of you globally, we're going to fly you all over to some country, Hawaii, and we're going to have this big conference. That's the kind of things that Oprah does. So you never know at the time what's going to come of something. And if you don't stop and just soak it all in, even the fact that I've got that far is huge, and I'm just being present, and I'm still gloating, and I'm still walking around going, I'm on Oprah. And it's okay to do that. It's not about me bragging. It's not about, oh, she's a show off. I'm just being present in something that's happened in my life that I see, I place a value on, and it only ever really matters to you and the value you place on something. That may mean nothing for someone else, and that's fine. But for me, because I mimic my life and my businesses based off Oprah's philosophies and principles, and I think she's an awesome mentor for me. She's used her skill to create incredible wealth to then give back and support so many other needy people. And I love that giving nature. And I feel that I'm the next Sharpra of Australia, and I believe I've got those same talents. So again, it only has to matter to me. It doesn't have to matter to anybody else. And it only has to matter to you in your moment of being present. I know I harped on about that point, but I just see so many people who don't stop in the moment and celebrate what's just happened for them. They're rushing on to the next thing on their to-do list and rushing on to the next email or whatever, and they don't stop and just soak it up for a moment. And thank you, Marie. Yes, it is huge. And seeing it does make it absolutely real. So you really do have to believe it. So the affirmation that I've got for you this month in particular is, and certainly with the journey that I had in month 12 of the book, is that I realized that I'm capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. And again, of course, it's the same for you. We get what we focus on. So make sure you're focused on the right things, because it's going to turn up in your life. And our brain doesn't know how to accept the word don't. So when we say, I don't want more bills, or I don't want any negativity, the don't gets lost in translation. And your brain will kind of, and your energies around it will turn into, that's what you do want. So, you know, capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Just be careful what your mind is set to, because you make sure you're attracting the right thing. Okay. So your surroundings, this is what I want to touch on in a bit of detail tonight. And again, you know, you guys know, well, some of you know how much I get out there and about with business owners, and I've started to notice a pattern. And I thought it would be interesting to share on the webinar, and I'd love your feedback on this actually, either in the chat box or certainly in the group afterwards. But I've noticed that the people that are surrounding themselves with a support team are the ones that are flourishing. And the people that are trying to go it alone and a little bit more, there's nothing wrong with being introverted, but I've just noticed a little bit more introverted, the ones that don't ask for help, the ones that can sometimes put on a little pretend mask that life is great, they're the ones that are struggling actually. And I found that quite fascinating, and I've been watching this pattern for a while actually, and I just thought it was relevant to bring up tonight, because, you know, for me, it was at the end of the journey, month 12. That was great. But that also, once I realized, okay, I've paid all those bills off and life's about to change, I won't have those same financial pressures. There's always something else that you're dealing with, and there's a different challenge and struggle. And I started to think, okay, well, for me to branch out into this next chapter of my life, there are going to be different obstacles that come up. So who's supporting me? Who are the people around me that are going to be there when I need them? And it's not just having, you know, it's not just like a business coach or a mentor. It's a number of different people. So I want you to ask yourself, and maybe jot these things down. I'm just checking the sounds. No, the sound's all good. So I just want you to jot these things down. So looking at your environment, and I mean literally looking around your house or your office or wherever you're sitting listening to this, what are the things in your environment that are staring back at you right now? And in the area or the office or the space that you use the most during your business hours, what are the things that are staring back at you? So when I mean environment, I mean I'm sitting in my office and I have Kun Teddy, who's my 2-meter tall, gorgeous white, actually he's getting a bit dirty, but white teddy bear who is the orphanage's mascot, and he's got a love heart embossed and engraved onto his chest, which has got the orphanage's name. So he's looking back at me. I've got a lot of color. I like bric-a-brac and I like color. I've got a lot of family photos and friend photos. I've got cards that have been sent to me, with love and congratulations, or thanking me for, some people on this journey on the webinar series have sent me cards to say thank you, and they've printed out my which is quite cute, my Broke to BMW book cover, and they've used that as a postcard and sent it. So little things like that just kind of makes me appreciate them in my life, and me sharing what I've shared, but knowing that it was appreciated. I've got candles, I've got books, and I've got quotes and affirmations. I've got a whole sheet of affirmations. So my environment around me is positive, uplifting, it's nurturing, it's nourishing, it's energetic. I've got a quote with a cute little pussycat, and it says, I'm not following my dreams, I'm stalking them. My dreams are going to have to take out a restraining order on me. And it's this really cute little pussycat going into stealth mode, looking straight at the camera with this very determined look. I've got pictures of dolphins, which actually one of them Maria has bought me. I've got my lucky bamboo tree. I've got my family, my kids, and all the rest of it. So I want you to take notice of your environment. And mine is quite cluttered at the moment because I've had 3 weeks of back-to-back events and travel and webinars and so on, and it's getting to the point now where I know I'm blocking energy. I'm probably blocking income as well, and I know I've got to the stage now where that's it. Over the Easter break, it's getting cleaned, because I'm very, very well aware that when we clutter our environment, our mind gets cluttered and we feel overwhelmed. So look at your environment. Don't underestimate how powerful it is and the vibrations it's sending you without you even realizing. I've got a sticker that says happiness is just a choice. And it's so true. I can choose right now to be happy, or I can choose to be miserable. It's my choice. So check your environment. Also check the people in your life. And we're going to talk about this a bit further on, but I'll just leave that one there because we're going into it a bit more detail in a moment. Look at the books that you surround yourself with. Are you consuming yourself with negative news, negative books, newspapers, those sorts of things, or are you surrounding yourself and reading books that are positive and uplifting? Networking groups. So where are you socializing for business, but also communities personally? Where do you go? What do you do? Are you involved with communities for your social activities? So if you do Zumba or belly dancing, or you go for bushwalks with people, but who are the communities you're with, and are they positive and uplifting surroundings? Networking groups, mastermind groups, whatever you want to call them. Who are you associating with? What are the surroundings you're going into? Are you walking into the room feeling like you belong, or are you walking into the room feeling like you're the odd one out and the group's quite cliquey, and when you get there you really feel disconnected and uncomfortable? Look at the languaging that you're using around yourself and the languaging that's being used in your surroundings. So potentially the music you're listening to, there's some radio stations and podcast show, but probably more radio stations that have a lot of negative type of music, or songs and words that are used in those songs, depending on what station. So everything that's filtering into your system is affecting your surroundings, and everything we put in is being put out. So and of course the thoughts that we have. So all of the above things really, really resonate and determine the thoughts that we're going to have. So when we have negative thoughts, literally with the click of a finger, we can shift that thought if we choose to. And it's like you can close your eyes and picture someone inside your head with a big net. And as that negative thought comes in, this hand comes out with this big net and scoops it up and throws it out your ear. Like, these are the things you can talk about in your own mind, of course. Don't go around the streets telling people, because they'll probably lock you up. But these are the thoughts we have full control over. You can choose every thought right now. And happiness is just a thought. So is abundance. So is inspiration. So are all of them. They're just thoughts that you have full control over. So just really please take stock of your surroundings and don't just think it's one thing. It is absolutely everything that is around you. So the next point I want to bring up is, are you trying to control too much? And again, this process in itself becomes very, very exhausting. So when I was going through the Broke to BMW journey, and some of you that have been on this journey from the start would probably, I would imagine, agree with this, because there's things that you've had to really let go along the journey, and you've realized that you just can't control them. They're things that are out of your control, either people's thoughts, people's decisions or actions. You know, I know some of you have done this, but even the ones that I haven't talked to, I'm sure you've got to a point where you've gone, do you know what? I can't do anything about this situation. I just have to let it go. And there are just things that are outside of our control, and it will drive you stir crazy and add negative thoughts, and you'll start to doubt yourself and get disbelief in whatever you're doing in your business or your life, because it's like, oh, if I can't get this happening or this working or whatever it is, that the negative spiral starts. And once you get on that spiral, it is a little bit like a water slide that will get fast traction faster than you could ever imagine. And you'll be up the top of the slide one moment, and water will literally push you from behind as you start that negative thought process, and you're down the bottom floating or underwater before you even realize what happened. And it does happen that quickly. So you need to be very aware of the things that you can control and the things that you can't control. So the things that you can't control are other people's actions. You can set a deadline for a project, set a deadline for someone to turn up to, fix a fan or an air conditioner or your internet or something. You can tell people when you want your websites ready. You can tell people what time you'd like to pick your car up. You can do all of those things with all good intentions and realistic expectations of what the outcome should be based on what you would like, but you can't control it. And you really have to kind of give in to the gods sometimes, because if you try and control every minute area of your life when it's got to do with anybody else involved, you are literally heading for massive disaster, because it will consume you. It will make you angry. It will make you frustrated. It will exhaust all of your energies. It will just tear you apart. And you have absolutely no control over making those things happen. You can yell, scream, jump up and down, and probably do all of those things at once, and it's still not going to change it. Other people's words you can't also control. Now, everybody has a different languaging system within their head. Some people will choose words that they feel mean something different to what you may hear. And that's why social media and text messages and these things can go very, very wrong sometimes, because someone might accidentally hit the uppercase caps lock and send you a message all in capitals and accidentally put an exclamation mark at the end. And for most people that know social media language, that's pretty much them yelling at you through text message or social media. And potentially that's all been done by mistake. But of course, the first thing you're going to do is look into that. You're going to look at every word they've said and take it personally and get hurt by it. Now, sometimes they may be actually yelling at you, but again, you can't control the words that they say. You can't control the way that other people play in their life, their games that they play, the way that they run their life. You can't control any of that. You absolutely can't control anybody's behaviour. You can't dictate how you'd like them to be and expect them to do it. They are going to choose behaviour that's right for them at the time. They are also going to make mistakes, and you may have trained them or told them this is how you want something done, and you get to like a website designs. With websites, it's such a personal thing, and you have a certain look and feel in your mind, and you can portray that to your designer as best you can. But ultimately, in their mind, being male, female, whoever they are, they're going to create a different picture around that, and they might do something based on what they think is right, and in your eyes it's wrong and it's a mistake. And you know, sometimes it can be that, and other times people will just mess up, because we're all human beings and we make mistakes, and you have no control over that as well. You also can't control other people's feelings, and again, it's very difficult, because you have your own thought process around the feelings that should or shouldn't happen at a certain time. So do they. And they will react based on how they're feeling and what's going on in their life. You can't control the ideas that they have. They have all of their own thoughts. And you know what? Ultimately, all of those things are no one else's business but yours, and you can't worry about anything. They shouldn't also worry about you, but you can't also worry about them. So all we want to do is really start to focus on the things that you can control. So the things you can control are your words, your actions, your ideas, your play state, so the way that you play your game of life, the effort that you put in, the mistakes that you make, and your behavior. Outside of that, you really have to take a deep breath in and release it and get rid of it, because everything else is completely out of your control. Okay, so Maria's just added a note here. It's none of your business what other people say or do. Absolutely, because that's their journey, and for you to get involved with their journey of life is none of your business either, and it's certainly none of their business to get involved with yours. Oh, Lisa, oh my God, don't talk about website. I've hit a nerve there, I think, with Lisa, have I? You're a bit frustrated with your site, love. Okay, so of course, I'm always going to be talking about your why, my why, because that's me. I am the why woman. And again, we ran a why weekend recently, and actually some of you, just trying to think who's on tonight, but I think some of the people on tonight were at the recent why weekend, and now you kind of finally get sorry, just give me half a second, I've got to turn something off. Yes, so now that you finally have been to the Y weekend, for those that have come, you will really get the clarity and understanding around why I keep harping on about it, because you've seen the actual change that's happened in your own life. So those people that are on the live webinar tonight, there is a new online course that's been launched called purposefinder.com.au, where I've taken the key things out of the Y weekend that we do, and I've put them into a fully automated online 6-week course with videos from me, and also activities and exercises that you have to do every week. And it takes you about 2 to 3 hours each week to do it properly over 6 weeks. And at the end of it, you'll get a lot more clarity around your true purpose in life and what your genius zone is and how you can do something about it. For those of you that are listening live, the next Y weekend that's coming up is on the 20th and 21st of June, and we have released the VIP spots, and some of them have already been filled, and we do still have a few places left for VIP spots, which get you a lot of bonuses. But definitely jump on to findmywhy.com.au, and if you are listening to the recording, I'm not sure, of course, when you're listening to this as a recording, so all the dates for the Y weekend are listed on findmywhy.com.au, and we will be starting to run them in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales and also in Victoria. So there's always going to be one coming up in a state near you. Okay. So, month 12, this was all about, oh, thank you, Cindy. Lindy, sorry, Lindy came along to the Y weekend and she said it was super great and worth every cent. Oh, thanks, Lindy, that's great. And you did certainly get incredible transformations out of it. So I'm going to be sharing your testimony actually next week. So can't wait to tell everyone about that. Okay, so month 12 was all about my reward. And I just want to remind you that last month I talked to you about I was able to see how far I'd come, and I was able to start feeling like I was absolutely going to pay off that last account. I could see how it was going to happen. I could see where the money was coming from. I pictured the phone call, and I knew what the supplier was going to say, and I felt all the feelings that went around that. But this particular month 12, was the moment that I actually did do it. And I just want you to take a moment in your own head and feel potentially what this is like. That, not that long ago, here I was sitting on the bathroom floor, weeping, upset over what had happened, knowing that a lot of it was out of my control. And it was one of those feelings that, wow, I did this. I focused on what I wanted, and I got the result that I wanted because I focused on what I wanted. Like, there's no mistake and there's certainly no accident. But it was just that moment of, oh my God, can you imagine what it would be like to be able to ring that last person that you owe money to, or pay off the last bit of your mortgage, or whatever it is you're working towards, and actually have that feeling of, I did it. It feels so free and so light. And it's such an incredible feeling that I want all of you to experience it. And I know some of you have started to have some wins, and you know what that feeling's like. And the ones that haven't had those wins yet, they're coming. Stay focused on what you want, because the reward is just incredible. It's really, 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 really important that we celebrate our wins and we reward ourselves. Because if we don't celebrate, our whole body kind of goes into, wow, I did all of that and I don't get anything. It's so important to celebrate. It's just take that moment, and whatever celebration means for you, there's no wrong or right. But normally for me, it's sitting on the balcony, or having a drink and having a nice meal and having the family over or friends over, and just kicking our heels up and relaxing and celebrating and just toasting to what was and the achievements that were made. But whatever it is for you, celebrate it. But the moment that I ordered Miss Mango my car, was just incredible. Like, for those that have read the book, just picture what it would be like to go into whatever it is. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a new dress, it doesn't matter. But just picture seeing it for so long, smelling it and feeling it as if it was yours, and then walking in one day and actually going, oh my God, this is the moment. Can you imagine what that would feel like? And that's what it felt like for me. And every one of you can have that same feeling. Every one of you can have that moment of, oh my God, this is mine. I can taste it. And the more that we start to feel that feeling now, if you're still working towards it, the more that it will become real for you, and the more it definitely is going to show up in your life without a doubt. So the emotions that surround a moment like that you've visualized, I can't even put into words. And some of you know, when I share, Simon Sinek's work, he talks about the limbic brain, and the limbic brain has no capacity for language. It's a visceral response. It's one of those emotional, goosebumpy, tingly, pit of the stomach type feeling, take your breath away, feel a bit lightheaded. It's all of those things wrapped into one. And that's what it feels like when you reward yourself for something you've worked so hard for. And I just want everybody on the planet to feel that. And certainly all of you guys that are still on the bus after all this time, I want all of you to feel what that's like, and really absorb it, and capture it and nurture that feeling, and just bottle it up, because it's honestly one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life. And like I spoke about earlier, you know, stopping on the beach and reflecting how far you've walked. At this moment on my journey, I had to stop and reflect and look back. Wow, look what I've achieved. I actually pulled the file out and looked at all the invoices and all the suppliers' names and or everybody that I'd paid back, and looked at every time I made a payment, and I was updating the balance, and I'd scratch off the old balance and I'd write the new balance less $20 or $50 or $400, whatever I had to pay off. And I would see those visual deductions coming, and that amount at the bottom getting less and less. And then finally I was able to put a big black line through the whole invoice and wrote, paid in full, well done, Sharon. I'd write myself little things. And I actually sat and went through all of those accounts and files just to read those comments again and see how far. Again, reflect, look back at how far you've come. It is the best. I've got goosebumps sitting here right now thinking about that moment again, and it feels so real, like it was yesterday. And it's one of those feelings that I don't ever want to forget, because I know that when I set my mind to something, I'm pretty determined and I'll get it, because my why is so big that nothing is going to stop me. You know, the smell of the dream, I'd felt it before. So when I actually ordered the car, mine was a custom made color. Obviously no one really drives Miss Mango colored cars, which is great. There's only one I know of in Melbourne, actually. But what I did was then go and sat on the showroom floor with a model exactly like mine, just a different color. And when I opened the door, everything felt familiar, because I had sat in those demo cars on and off for that whole period of time very frequently. I would go in when I'd had the toughest of weeks, and I literally was paying $20 here, $20 there, and I would go in and sit in one of those cars, and I knew what it felt like to hold the steering wheel. I smelt in that beautiful BMW leather smell, that it has its own very unique scent about it. I would feel the leather under my body. I'd hold, you know, the gear stick in my hand. I'd adjust the rear view mirror. Like, I had done that so many times and visualized that it was my car that I was in. At those moments when I could barely afford the petrol to drive in and go sit in the car, I still did it, and I still felt it, and I made it real. And I want to challenge you and ask you, what are you doing to go and touch and smell and live your dream? What are you doing for the things that you're working towards? How often are you keeping that alive in your mind? Maybe if you want to put them in the chat box and I can read them out to people. What are you doing for whatever you're working towards? Is it a new house? Is it a new dress? Is it a new puppy dog? Is it a new car? It doesn't matter. If it's travel and a holiday, how often have you gone in and talked to the travel agent? How many brochures do you have around? Have you gone when the cruise, if it's a cruise you want to go on, have you gone when the cruise ships are in town? Often they let you do the tours and they take you through the ship. Have you done all of that stuff and pretend that you're about to board? And, you know, these are all the things we need to do, because it can't just be business. It can't just be work. Our body and our mind and our energies have to feel what those things are like, because if we don't feel them, we can't get into the dream and make it real. So what's your reward? I'd love to hear from you. Just type it in the box. There's some very quiet people on the webinar tonight who are obviously just sitting and listening, which is fine. But I would love to hear from you. Tell me what your reward is. I do love to know what everyone's striving towards, and I love the diversity of what people are looking for out of their life and what people want. I love the diversity, and there's no wrong or right. So don't kind of think, oh, I just want a new pair of shoes and a dress. That's brilliant. And if that's what you want, trust me, they were on my list as well, of course. And I think Lisa's on tonight, and of course they were leopard print, the ones I wanted. So Maria's just put the holiday. She's already gone to her travel agent and bringing home brochures. So Maria, make it even realer than that. You know, find wherever that holiday is going to take you. So if it was a certain country, could you not buy essential oils and candles and typical types of food and have a night at home and pretend that you're already there and you're smelling the scents of that country, or the food, traditional food that they cook, and you're smelling all of that, and you know, have pictures of it around the place, put the brochures up, make a bit of a dream board of that that holiday and where you want it to go. Like really make it as real as you can without, of course, having to go there. And Lisa, move to a new house on the beach. Oh, brilliant. So book yourself in and go to open homes and find out when there's a home that you would like to live in, or at least the area, and actually go through the open home, walk through it and pretend as you, like, let everyone else go first if there's other people there. And then pretend as you step over the, step through the front door, that threshold, pretend that you've just picked your keys up and have that moment and stand in the front door of your own place or the place that you would like near the beach and feel it. Feel it as if, oh my God, I just picked my keys up and this is now my house. Like, feel it, get covered with goosebumps. Lisa, you so have to try and come to a Y weekend when you can, because I know you've been on this journey for a while, and I know you want my leopard print shoes, honey, but you're not getting them. But really, you know, the Y weekend will help you so much. It's just time. I've been hounding you for a while to come, and you know that. And, you know, you will absolutely love it. But you need to feel that, what it's like to go to open homes and go to lots of them so that you can feel and get an idea for the different houses. No credit card debt. Absolutely. So find yourself a statement on Google for a credit card statement with a zero balance. Print it out and put it on your dream board and put your name at the top, your address at the top, white everything out that's on there, and put or get one of your own statements, photocopy it, and put zero on the bottom. And again, feel what that feels like to have that. And what would the credit card company say? They'll probably send you an increased balance because they want more business off you. But picture the letter saying, congratulations, you've paid off your credit card. Can we help you again? You know, would you like more? Picture what that letter feels like to get in the mail. Food will incorporate. Yes, so Maria's going to go do that. She's going to go and get food and incorporate that on her vision board. Lisa's just put here, oh, that's just rude. She's going to buy her own leopard print shoes and then she won't share. Well, that's fine, honey, because I have lots of leopard print shoes and I'm always adding them to my collection. So if you come to the Y weekend, I promise to wear them on day one for you, and you can wear yours and we can compare and have a leopard print shoe off. Day at the spa, Debbie Turner said, it's time to decide which day spa. Absolutely. Don't just decide which day spa. Have a look at the website, have a look at their menu, walk into the spa, ask them for a tour, like choose a really swanky place. So, you know, there's Harbour Day Spa, Stephanie's, there's spas in the city, there's some beautiful properties around. Actually go there and say, I'd like to have a tour of your spa because I'm going to be coming here for a full day. I want top to toe package and I would like you to show me all the rooms, show me, you know, take me on a full tour as if I was coming here today. And then sit down with the menu, the spa menu, and plan your day and have the therapist sit with you and say, okay, when I come in, I want to start with relaxing. So you might want to steam and really make it real. The reason I'm going into this in so much detail is I'm planning your spa day, and because spa is my background, I've got goosebumps. And I'm not even going with you, but that would be such a cool idea, wouldn't it, if we all went on this spa day together as a bit of a reward for the Broke to BMW journey. I think that sounds like a fun day out myself. But plan it so that it's so real, and then choose, okay, you're going to do this, and then you're going to have morning tea at the spa, and then you're going to go in for the next treatment, then there's a spa lunch, and you're going to come out and have a massage, and then there's an afternoon tea, then you're going to finish off with a manicure, pedicure, and getting your hair done. And imagine what it feels like at the end of the day when you float out of there, your skin is beautifully covered in oil, you've had a facial, you've had some makeup applied, you've had your hair and your nails done, you feel relaxed, you look beautiful, and that's the feeling that you want to capture. And then burn some essential oils that maybe that spa particularly uses, put a picture up, like really make it real. I know I'm harping on, but I really want you to get that the reward is so important. If we keep focusing on the do of the tasks and don't stop to make our reward real, it's really difficult to then want it. and we all deserve it. We all work hard. Maria also wants your spa day, so I think we all might need to go. And Lisa's just said that Palazzo Versace have a hot male therapist. Excellent. So I think that's where we should have our Broke to BMW graduation. I think that's like a wonderful idea. Okay, so fearless. It's getting on with time. I've rattled on. So I want to talk to you about becoming fearless. And becoming fearless is, it's like we have to kick into gear our inner lion or our inner lioness. And there's some people out there, and again, I'll never mention names, but I just want to paint the picture that there's some people out there recently that I've met that have allowed others, they've worried about what other people are thinking and saying, and they've allowed others to control their thoughts and make them a little bit subservient, if you like, and allowed them to, they've done this to themselves, but they've allowed the other people to kind of squash their bigger picture and their bigger thinking. And I wasn't in the right opportunity. It wasn't my place, I guess, to say something to this person. So I'm hoping that I will have an opportunity in the next week, because there's an opportunity where I'll get to see them again, and more of a better environment where I could put my 2 cents worth in, because I know that they need someone to say something, and it just wasn't the right time at the day. And again, you've got to pick your time where you can bring these things up with people. But I just want all of you to never allow that to happen to yourselves. I want you to become fearless. I want you to pretend that someone is about to attack your cubs, and your cubs can be whatever you want them to be: children, your business, your new product, your new website, your new book, your new dress, whatever you're working on at the moment. It could be anything. But become fearless, like someone's about to take one of your baby cubs and do some harm to it. Become that aggressive in a nice way, and become that fearless and that protective, because it's just absolutely it's absolutely incredible feeling, but it's absolutely essential for you to achieve what we need to achieve on this journey. And trust your gut. I've had some conversations with people, and I've been doing a lot of strategy sessions lately, and I've had some people who second guess every thought that pops into their head, and they'll say it with confidence. And then because I'm processing their thought and I don't reply straight away, they automatically go into, oh, but if that's not a good idea, or if you don't think that's going to work, tell me. And I haven't even processed the first idea, which I'm actually thinking, gee, this is really good. How are we going to make this work? They've already kind of taken themselves down and second guessed themselves that it's going to work, and they know it's going to work. They know it because the fact that it's come to them and they felt it and they got really excited sharing it, there's something in that. So trust your gut. If you say, if the thoughts come to you and you've said it and you believe that there's some hope in it, yes, of course you need guidance and structure from a mentor or your team or someone around you, but make sure that you follow through with it. Don't second guess every thought. It will literally cripple you from moving forward. And I try strategies all the time that are completely left field from what I learn sometimes on webinars or books or courses or workshops or my program that I'm involved with. And I sometimes hear all of that, and in my gut I go, but I think this way is going to work. And I back myself. Does it work every time? Hell no. Does it work more times than not? Absolutely. Because if I believe in it passionately, and I really truly believe now that I know my avatar ideal client like she is my best girlfriend. I know that client type so well now because I've fine-tuned her. Every time I get a new avatar that fits that, I pick up another characteristic, and then I use that in my languaging back in my marketing, and I've fine-tuned her now that she really is my best friend. And I trust that if I've changed a model that's out there in the marketplace working and I've tweaked it, I know I've tweaked it with her best interest at heart, and I trust my gut. I put my armor on and I literally go to battle for it. And I go to battle a lot of the times with my mentor, because my mentor is in charge. Well, to a degree. I can't hold him accountable for it, but he's in charge to a degree to making sure that I get my orphanage open on time. So it scares him a little bit when I buck the system and I buck proven ways of doing things. However, ultimately, he can't control me, remember, because you can only ever control yourself. And sometimes it doesn't work as well. It works, but not as well. And then I'll get the slap. You should have listened. And then other times it works much better than he or I put together could have thought. And he says, well done for backing yourself. So I'm not wrong or right either way, and he's not wrong or right either way. I just know my avatar, and that is one of the things that we also teach at Y Weekend, and the ones that have been on it know how much detail we go into in that process and how critical it is to do that process. So put your armor on and continue to innovate. Don't just consistently follow the herd. Even me, whatever I'm telling you, don't listen to everything and go, well, it's that way because it's worked for Shah. Yes, it has. But if it doesn't feel right for you and you don't feel it's right for your market, don't just follow. Innovate something new and fresh and try it, take it to market, because you could be the entrepreneur that makes that work and takes that initiative, and others then follow your process until it doesn't feel right for them. So create the idea and definitely be bold with it. Lindy's just said that that's one of her biggest hurdles is, full of fear and probably self-doubt, and that we have that a lot. And I haven't been on the groups, but I noticed there's some posts on there that I do need to read from you, which I promise I will do over the next week. But don't second guess yourself. Yes, you can ask advice from the groups, and absolutely that's what they're there for. But I want you to, if you have an inner gut knowing that whatever you're proposing is right, go with it. And then garnish support from the people within your community that surround you. Garnish support for them to give you tweaks on it or ideas, but don't ask them, will I or won't I? And don't then go back and revert to a standard way of doing things, because your way may be the new way of the future for all of us to follow. So trust your gut. And if you believe it's the right way forward, then do it. And if you're doing it if you need to have it monetize itself pretty quickly, you may want to follow a tried and tested system. When you've got more time and you can be a bit more creative and it's not directed around, I've got bills to pay, that's the time to innovate. So I just want to say that warning in there, that sometimes you do need to stick with the tried and tested system just because it has been proven to work. And other times there's time to innovate and create and be bold. I thought we might have time for live questions, but we'll do those over in the group in a moment. And I've been reading things out as we go along as well. So my tip for the month is to believe. And it comes back to putting this armor on. It comes back to trusting your gut. It comes back to understanding that you can only control you. So I truly just want you to, for this month, believe in yourself. And I love this quote that says, imagine with all your mind, believe with all your heart, and achieve with all your might. It's one of my favorite quotes, apart from obviously my Mark Twain one. And I just love it because it allows you to put everything into what you're doing. But the key word that I want you to focus on is believe. Believe with all your heart. Trust yourself. Trust that you have all the right answers within you. Believe that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And my journey's one journey of many people out there who have achieved as great and so much greater than what I have, just because they believed in themselves. Ensure that you surround yourself with this incredible network of friends, family, business mentors, communities, networking groups, books, affirmations. Everything around you has to be positive, and it's so important that you surround yourself with all of that. But ultimately you need to be the one that believes in yourself, be above and beyond anything else. So home play is that, please all catch up with each other. The ones that are local, And I know that you still do catch up, which is just brilliant. And I would love to hear and see that you catch up moving forward. And if you do, please just take a little photo and post it into the Broke to BMW group and say hello to me in camera or something, just so that I know that, you know, I'm quite honoured to read some posts recently and see some pictures of some of you guys that do catch up, and you put a beautiful montage of pictures. And I know that a lot of those friendships have come from this webinar series, and I just think that's incredible, because that's a gift that's been given back to me, because I got out of my comfort zone and got away from my fears about sharing my journey with you. Those friendships have happened, and I know that business will come. There's support there, there's a lot of things there. And just promise yourself, as part of your home play, I guess, for the rest of your life, is do what you say you're going to do. If you commit to yourself or commit to anyone on your team or a buddy, please do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to do it, please honour that. Please also take the time to thank your buddy, because I know some of you have really, really buddied up and taken that buddy quite part of the journey really seriously. Take the time to thank them by message, by email, and I would love to see some thank yous in the Broke to BMW Facebook group as well, that you can thank publicly, of what they've done for you, how they've been there for you, how they've helped you, how they've nurtured you when you've needed it. I would love to see those. And I'm going to be cheeky and ask for a testimony. I'd love to see some testimonies come through about, you know, what you've gotten out of the series, because you guys are the lucky ones. You've been able to come onto this series because you've been on this journey from the start, and you were part of the original launch team with the book. You've been able to get this for free. So this series is now going to be packaged up and it's going to be sold globally. And you know, these testimonies that you put up about what you've gotten out of it will be shared with people like that to help them make the decision as to what they've gotten out of it. So whilst it'll be lovely to hear, you know, how wonderful I am, it's, if you could write the testimony based on more so what you've gotten out of the program, how it's helped you from a mindset point of view, from a business point of view, friendships, community, your circle, whatever the things that you feel you've gotten out of it. I'd love to have those come through. If you want to email them, you can. If you want to share them in the Broke to BMW group, certainly. If you want to share them just on Facebook, just tag me in it so that I can capture them all and we can pop them onto the site. And please promise me that you'll look after yourselves. I want you to nourish your mind and your body, and that's so important to do it. Don't burn yourselves ragged. Don't overcommit to things and push yourself. Just really look after yourselves. You know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and we've had that quote up there because I absolutely love it. And we have to nourish ourselves and nurture ourselves along the way. So the last point there is lunch. You know, for those that are local, maybe let's have a chat about getting together, because there's so many of you on this webinar series that I haven't met, and you clearly have heard all about me and my journey, and I would love to schedule a long lunch maybe on a weekend where we get together and just have a long lunch in a nice kind of place, and we'll all just catch up, and I can sit at different spots around the table and hear your stories and what you've gotten up to and what you've gotten out of the program. I think that would be incredible. So if anyone's keen on that, then let's set up a time. So just reading some quick comments here. Heather, you've come on late, it's still made it. Well done. And once you finish, I will play. Yes, there will be absolutely a replay. Lindy, she's got here, I do her daily post that is tagged, I believe in you, it has changed my life. Oh, thank you very much. And it's just been a pleasure getting to know you, especially at Y Weekend as well. Lisa, yes, we are all a special group and you love them all to bits, and I love all you guys to bits, and I'm so honoured that you're still on this journey with me after 12 months. And Maria totally agrees and loves the friendships that she's made, and we all love you, Maria, you know that. So seriously, if you haven't got a book by now, what are you waiting for? The Broke to BMW site, I actually think is, the link may be working now, but if not, contact me, charmour.com.au, and we can sort that out. If you're not a member of the Broke to BMW Facebook group and you're listening to this as a recording, please definitely join the group, because you'll get to hear and meet all the other people that have been on this journey as well. And look, it doesn't have to end here. If if you have loved this and you like the sound of my voice, and more so that you like what we've achieved in this community by having that consistent mastermind concept going, by having the buddy system, by having a support team around you, please feel free to continue the journey with me. So the Why Mastermind is actually an 8-week webinar series where some of you are actually already on it, and it costs $83 a week. And on a Monday night every week, we get on and each person gets to ask a question live, and we brainstorm that question and help you with a current challenge, and everybody else is listening, so everybody's learning from that as well. We only take limited numbers onto this because I actually work with each person live for around 5 to 8 minutes, and it's $83 a week. So it is by invitation only, so please jump onto that link, Why Mastermind Inquiry after my Shah, jump onto there, fill out the form, and someone will be in touch with you to have a chat. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm running a tour on the east coast of Australia in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, and it's probably going to be May to June this year. You can take that bit.ly link, and I've shared it into the Broke to BMW group as well. If you would like to come on the tour with me, come to any of those cities live. It's a free 1-day event, and it's all about awakening you to what's possible and awakening you to how to live and find your why, and it's 1 day free. So I would be honored if you would help me share that link with other people, telling them about the journey you've been on with Broke to BMW and some things that I might be able to help them with, and please ask them to register. Now, this link is only to save a spot to be the first to know about the tour. The tickets haven't opened for those, even though they're going to be free. It is going to be limited to 200 people per state. And I've never done a tour like this before, and there's a lot of marketing getting done in the back end. So I'm hoping that it will sell out, because I really want to help people wake up and start living this amazing life. So I just wanted to mention that. If you can help me mention it to people, I would be honored. So look, we're coming to the end of the webinar, and I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, just say thank you so much for indulging me over the last 12 months of sharing my Broke to BMW journey and the lessons that I learned, the strategies that I used to get to that end conclusion. And really, it was just the beginning of an amazing journey that followed that. So I just want to wish you all well on your journey. Please keep in touch with me. Don't be a stranger. And thank you all so much for everything. Debbie Turner's just said that thank you, Shah, for the last year and this webinar series. And thank you for the book. The hookups, I've met some amazing ladies that will have long friendships with. And I think that goes for everybody on here. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. And I look forward to chatting with you in the group in just a few minutes. Bye for now.